Hello, Instagram. We're going live. Oh my gosh, so many text messages got sent out. Say hello to all your leaders on Zoom. Oh, there they are. Hi, everybody. Hello. Okay, I'm going to start by playing a song. If you don't know what this song is, maybe you would recognize it from Go Mad this year. So, take a listen. Peace, bring it all to peace. Storm surrounding me, let it break. At your name still, call the sea to still, the raging me to still every wave. At your name, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, breathe. Call these bones to live. Call these lungs to sing once again. I will praise Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. You silence fear. Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Your name is a lie that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is alive, forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Awesome. Thanks for tuning into that. So hold on one second. I had to put my guitar away. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Campus Life Instagram story, to our digital club. I'm so glad that you're here. TBH, I severely miss all of you so much, and all of you on Zoom. I miss everyone and everyone's faces and giving everyone hugs, and I just do. So, welcome to day whatever of quarantine, week 3 of Digital Club. And I think that we're kind of like getting into a good rhythm of things, but I wanted to let you guys know a couple announcements. Tomorrow, I am going to announce the next challenge for the week. But for those of you that are tuning in now, you get to hear about the challenge before everybody else. So, the challenge this week is to post a picture of yourself doing a talent or a hobby of yours. So, whether that's cooking or playing an instrument or singing or painting or even making a friendship bracelet or giving a dramatic PowerPoint presentation, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you are doing it as a hobby or a talent. So just post a picture of yourself doing those things and tag Campus Life on Instagram, and you will be entered to win something random from Amazon that I decide to send to you. So it will get delivered to your house. You won't even have to leave. It's great, win-win for everybody. But we get to see all of your awesome hobbies and talents, and you get to do something, which is really great. So I know these next 3 weeks you guys don't have school, and some of you might be catching up on school. So let me know if you are you still catching up, or are you done with all of your school? If not, blessings on these 3 weeks of being able to catch up. I'm sure you guys have like deadlines and stuff, but yeah. But tonight we're going to talk about stillness. So I talked about earlier the importance of slowing down, and obviously right now we are forced to slow down, and we can either use this in a really positive way, or we can use this in a way that we end up spiraling into some pretty negative behaviors and habits. So when we get out of this, I want you guys to be left for better instead of having to break really negative habits that you formed over this time. So I have an example to show you guys. This is a jar of dirt. Okay? This jar of dirt is a lot like me. And I'm not saying that I'm like dirt, but my mind and my heart are a lot like this. When I am on the go, when I get busy, when I am doing thing to thing to thing to thing, and stirring up all of this, then I can't see anything that's going on inside of me, inside of my life, inside of anything. See all that dirt, all of that dust going around. And I'm a lot like this dirt. And when all of these things are stirred up, when it's moving around and everything like that, I don't take any time to see what's inside. And frankly, I can't, because I'm so busy that I have no room in my life to see what's inside of this jar of dirt. So there's a lot of times I can think of in my life where I was like this. But one of the times that I can think of the most is the time that I broke my leg really badly when I first started working for Campus Life. So I was working at a YFC camp. I went there for a week in the summer to serve, and I was doing programming. So I was doing skits and games with all these middle schoolers. And as I was running across styrofoam boards on the water, like a wipeout kind of game in a hula skirt and a scuba mask, I fall on the styrofoam boards, and my leg gets caught in between both the boards, and I land right on it, and it smashes my leg. My leg is twisted, and it's something that should be like this was actually like this. It was literally out to the side like that. So I broke both bones in my right leg, in my lower bones, not my tibia. Not my femur. That's what I meant. Science is hard. But I broke both of those bones in 3 places. I had to get 2 big plates up both sides, and then 16 screws in my legs. My leg, not legs. My leg. And I was devastated, because you guys know me. You know I go hard. You know, like when I first started doing Campus Life, I just like worked all the time. I loved hanging out with students. I loved just go, go, go. And if I wasn't hanging out with all of my students, then I was out with my friends, and then I was volunteering somewhere, and then I was doing this, and then I was doing this and doing this. Like I was just a doer. I just went hard. Okay. And now, right, like that time everything stopped. It came to a screeching halt, and I couldn't work anymore. I had to have surgery. I was in a boot for 3 months. I was on crutches for 3 months and in a boot for 4 months. And I had to do 7 months of physical therapy to get my leg back to how it should be. And it was my right leg, so I couldn't even drive anywhere. I had to have my mom pick me up and take me literally to high school so I could go to lunches and hang out with people. It was ridiculous. And at the time, I lived by myself. And so, man, I felt so alone. I could barely carry a glass of water from my kitchen to the couch because of my crutches. And some of you guys that have broken like your leg before, I think you get it. Like it is so hard, and you have to slow down and you have to stop. And I found out that a lot of my identity was stuck in what I did. And that was the time where everything stopped moving around and the dirt started settling to the bottom. And I started to see my life a little more clearly. the longer that I sat in stillness, the longer that I had to. And I thought to myself, I'm going to use this time for good. I'm not going to use this time to just keep this stirring and keep this moving by filling myself up with music, with games, with social media, with still talking to friends constantly, those kind of things. Like, I took some time for some major like reflection in my life. And man, I fought it at first. It was so hard I would sit there and be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do some quiet time. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm on my phone playing a game. And I'm like, how did that even happen? I don't know how that happened. I know some of you guys feel me on that one. But I fought it so hard. But eventually the dirt settled. And eventually this was crystal clear. And eventually I saw a lot of changes that I needed to make in my life. I ultimately saw a lot of stuff that needed to change that I wasn't seeing because of my busyness. Because I was always stirring up this dirt by doing. And even when I was at home, I was still doing because I was filling my mind with so many things as well. Isn't that, like, I can't think, like, that is so much of our lives right now, right? Like, that is so much of what we're doing in our lives right now, is we are forced to sit and to stop. And we are forced to decide, are we going to let this dirt settle, or are we going to keep it moving by constantly engaging and constantly stirring it through social media, through texting friends all the time, through music, through anything like that? Like, are we going to do those things? I know a lot of you guys were always on the go with school, with sports, with choir, with band, with extracurricular activities, with club, with campus life, with a job, with volunteering places, with friends, and with family time, which I'm sure you guys are getting a lot right now. But a lot of those things, like, your jar looked a lot like mine. You know, it was filled with stuff, always moving, always shifting around. Your jars looked so stirred up. Even when you sat down for a little bit, like, I don't know, for me, I still had regular quiet time before all of that. Like, I still had time where I like tried to do self-examination, that kind of thing. But I didn't take a lot of time to let the dust settle. Maybe, yeah, like I stopped stirring it for a little bit, but it's still very foggy and I still can't see a lot that's going on. Now, earlier today, I filled this up and I let it sit. And after a while, it started to get really, really clear. And you could see, not all the way through it, but you can see quite a ways through this because I let it sit for longer. And I had a really hard time doing that. And maybe you're desperately trying to keep your mind occupied right now, to fight that stillness, to fight maybe some of the feelings that you're feeling that you don't want to feel. And I'm telling you, I've been there. I get that. I like to have all of this moving around and all of this feeling cloudy. But man, when I was forced to talk to God, when I was forced to let this sit for a while, I saw a lot of stuff about myself that I wanted to change. I saw a lot of stuff about myself then that I really, really needed to change, to be a healthier person, to be a better version of myself, to sit and see what was clearly inside. So I had a hard moment when I realized that the dust had settled and what was sitting in the middle of my jar was pride. What was sitting in the middle of my jar was this need to always do because I thought that I had to. What was sitting in the middle of my jar was some really unhealthy friendships. And I needed this time to show me those things. And it was so hard to let this settle and to start to see some of those things. But man, it was so good. So what happens to you when you sit for a long time? Do you try to distract yourself a lot? Do you try to fill yourself with music, with texting people, with doing something, with cleaning, with, this next project that you're going to do, this next thing, or even just like homework all the time? Like, what do you do with that? What if you didn't do? What if you just were? What if you just had a conversation with God? Maybe that's something unfamiliar with you. What if you tried it? And not just for a little bit. What if you tried it for a long time and saw what happened? I know we could be scared about what he reveals. I certainly was scared to see what was underneath all of the stuff that was settled. And the Bible talks a lot about sitting with God and how important it really is and the things that he can do when we do sit with him. So I'm going to read from the book of Psalms. It's a book of poetry and song lyrics in the Bible. It's Psalm 129 at the very end. It says, God, I invite your searching gaze into my heart. Examine me through and through. Find out everything that may be hidden within me. Put me to the test and sift through all my anxious cares. See if there is any path of pain that I'm walking on, and lead me back to your glorious, everlasting ways, the path that brings me back to you. When you slow down and when you give yourself a chance to see what's underneath here, you might see some things that desperately need some repair or desperately need some attention. You might be surprised what God reveals to you when you sit with him for long enough to push through all of the uncomfortableness, all of this that's going on. I love in that verse when it says, see if there's any path of pain I'm walking on. When we slow down, we can examine the direction that we're heading. We can look and see clearer into the future of some of the choices that we're making. Maybe you're heading in a direction that you don't want to. Maybe you are starting some bad habits that you do not want to have. That could be maybe even spiral into worse ones. Maybe when you look at people that you surround yourself with, they have a lot of negative qualities that you don't want to rub off on you. Maybe you're addicted to something. Maybe you struggle with substance abuse, and right now it's been really hard because you want to forget a lot of stuff. Maybe you're addicted to pornography, or you struggle with those things, or maybe even addicted to the approval of someone else. But you don't see those things until you let this settle. Maybe you have a search of approval from the opposite sex that you are okay with compromising your standards and sending pictures of yourself that you shouldn't send. Maybe you don't know who you are. Maybe you have no idea what's underneath all of this. The truth is that I've struggled with a lot of that stuff. And we go in seasons where we struggle with different things here and there. But I didn't realize that I didn't stop long enough to deal with this stuff, to let this settle, to let this go down, to let the dust settle not only in my mind and in my heart. This is the time right now where you guys can redefine some of those things. You can rewrite that story for yourself. You can take some time and be like, you know what? I am going to change. I was heading in a direction at school that I didn't want to head in, and I am going to change. You have these next 3 weeks of no school to do something to become the person that you want to be. Maybe you have a habit that you want to get rid of. Maybe you have a quality that you want to learn more of. Maybe you have some friends that you have a really difficult time with because they're not good friends to you. These are all times where you can let this transform you instead of letting it spiral you into unhealthiness. You are the only one that is in control of those choices that you're making right now. No one else can make those choices for you. It is only you. So tonight, tomorrow, this week, sometime, when you have the space, what if you did just that? What if you took a jar and you filled it with some dirt? I only put a little bit of dirt in, and it went a long way. Put it by your bed. Put it by somewhere where you can be quiet. Don't pick up your phone. Don't watch TV. Don't listen to music or do anything else distracting until the water becomes maybe a little clearer. If you've never done anything like this, you can read Psalm 139, and I'll post a prompt on that. After this, I'm going to post some questions, some reflection questions for you guys to do. If you journal, or if you've never tried to journal before, maybe you can journal some of those questions that I'm asking. Maybe you can sit and just ask yourself, hey, what's under here? What's in the middle of this jar? What are some things that maybe need repair in my life? Do I have some unforgiveness that I'm holding? Am I holding grudges? Am I doing unhealthy habits? Think about the different areas of your life. Your family, how are those relationships? Your friends, how are those relationships? Your personal habits, are you making good choices? The amount of sleep you're getting, everyone, you have to sleep better. A lot of anxiety and depression comes from lack of sleep and really bad sleeping habits. Your physical activity, are you still working out? Are you doing things to get you up and moving around? And so much more. Sit and be still and let the dust settle in you. That's my challenge for all of that. So we are going to get off our Instagram. And if you guys haven't gotten on our Zoom call yet, I would love to see everybody hop on Zoom. And we have all of these leaders on here waiting for you. And we're going to have a discussion about what we just talked about. Just some really healthy practices of how to start practicing some stillness and start practicing some of those really, really positive ways to use this. So thank you, everybody. I love you all. I miss you. I'll see you later.